We'll bring our regular City Council meeting to order. It's Monday, February 4th, 2013, 7 p.m. If there's anyone present at this public meeting who may require special assistance to participate, please let us know and we will try to assist you. Roll call, please.
Mayor Fetter?
Here.
Councilmember Crum?
Here.
Couch is absent. Councilmember Johnson?
Here.
Councilmember Clark? Here. Councilmember LaFever?
Here.
Are there any amendments or removals to tonight's agenda?
Yes, Mayor. Randy, I have an amendment to item number 6. Last week, or 2 weeks ago, in our last meeting at the 22nd, I made a motion to have and discuss approval of potential city clerk. I see that this week, item number 6 is a specific discussion point, an item for Marilyn Kaiser. I had proposed for that to be open for additional proposals. Mine was just an open-ended motion and it was approved. So I'd like to amend, I'd like to approve the agenda with that amendment.
And I was just going off your previous email where you had specified a specific person, and so then I used the one that the committee had recommended. So.
Yes. Yes.
I'll second.
You need the motion.
I need to have you make the motion.
The motion I have is to approve the agenda with the amendment to item number 6 to just to discuss and approve a potential city clerk.
Any other questions or comments? I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda with an addendum to agenda item number 6. Councilmember LaFever.
Aye.
Clark.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
And Crum.
Nay.
Tonight's agenda has been approved. Agenda item number 5 is approve the consent agenda. This is the approval of the minutes of the January 22nd, 2013 regular City Council meeting and minutes of the January 28th, 2013 special budget meeting. Set date of Monday, February 18th, 2013 at 7 p.m. for our next regular City Council meeting, and approved claims register and cash report.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second it.
Okay, are there any questions or comments? Councilmember LaFever.
Aye.
Clark.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
And Crum.
Aye.
Tonight's consent agenda has been approved. Agenda item number 6 is to discuss and approve, possibly approve clerk administrator. After the last, on January 22nd, the Dennis Crum, Mike Fouch, and I met a couple more applicants. Afterwards, we had discussion. I filled them in on the previous applicants, and at the end of that meeting, we decided we wanted to put forth to promote Marilyn to city clerk administrator. So that was our thoughts. So, Dennis, if you've got anything else, or
Yeah, we talked it over and thought that Marilyn would be an awful good candidate. She's been doing the job as it is, and she's qualified. And otherwise, if we hire somebody else, then she would have to end up training them, or we'd have to get somebody else and train them. So we figured that Marilyn would be a really good candidate. So that's who we would suggest to hire.
appreciate that, Denny, your comments and your opinion there. My concern is we still end up with just one person. We're still no further ahead in where we are today as far as having an additional body, which is what we were looking for, somebody to actually take that clerk administrator position. I'd like to propose that we make an offer to Ms. Vicki Schroeder for the position of new city clerk administrator.
I'll second that motion.
We could just have Marilyn be the city clerk, administrator, and then we could advertise for her job. It would be easier to fill, and we would be easier to fill, and then, because Marilyn's got qualifications for the city administrator's job, and the other girl wouldn't have near the qualifications that Marilyn's got.
And I guess as far as not having anybody here right away, I understand that. We have been without a city clerk since July 6th. We had 8 people apply for the city clerk's job. I'm sure there'd be a couple of them that would want to apply for the deputy clerk's job. I guess that would be my feelings. Are there any other questions or comments from anybody else? I guess my last comments then would be, this was on the last agenda also for this person, and that was before we'd even conducted all the interviews that were agreed to by the previous personnel committee. So it just amazes me that we would go out and hire somebody without going through all the interviews first. And but I guess that's the way things are done around here. That's twice now we go around the personnel committee to do things. So I have a motion and a second. So Councilmember Lefebvre.
Aye.
Councilmember Clark.
Aye.
Councilmember Johnson.
Aye.
Councilmember Kern.
No way.
And one last question. I have seen the references. Do we have those?
Pardon?
Do you have the references from her reference checks? Did you do those?
Did you seek those?
Okay, so we hired somebody without doing references. Thank you. That was my question. That's what I wanted to know.
May I have the floor?
No. Agenda item number 7, set date of March 4th, 2013 at 6:45 p.m. for a public hearing to adopt the Logan City Council budget for fiscal year 2013-2014.
I'll make a motion to set date for March 4th at 6:45 for a public hearing to adopt the Logan City budget for 2013 and 14.
I'll second that.
Any questions or comments? We'll get this in the paper then. At the end of next week, so we'll be in the paper in time for this. I have a motion and a second. Councilmember Lefebvre.
Aye.
Councilmember Clark.
Aye.
Councilmember Johnson.
Aye.
And Councilmember Crum.
Aye.
Date of March 4th, 2013 has been set to 6:45 for a public hearing. Agenda item number 8 is discuss and approve the first reading of ordinance. We actually don't have a number for this right now. There are still some legal things in there that need to be added actually before we can pass it. But it is to replace 5505, 5511, and 5518. Is there any discussion on this? That's where we want to go. There's a few things. I've just briefly scanned it. Left my notes in the car. One of them was the Vietnamese pot-bellied pigs, which I understand that is a pet. Most places do have that. We don't have a limit in there. Would we want to limit that?
Which item are you on?
That's number 4.
Before.
Thanks.
So that would just be one of my suggestions, was we ought to maybe put a limit in there on that. I'm not too sure about number 5. I mean, even with the city police chief saying, yes, it's okay about allowing poisonous reptiles, constrictors, and some of those in the city limits. And number 6 was just kind of, to me, allowing 2 large domestic animals such as horses, cows, burros, and mules. I'm not too in favor of those types of animals inside city limits.
I'm not too in favor of number 3. It doesn't specify what the manure and the droppings is, what the person's gonna do with that.
I think the intent is demonstrated in Dr. Heap's initial preamble of this, and then if you'd like to read it, or I don't hear somebody want to take the floor with that. Do you mind if I do?
Go ahead.
Okay. In it, she mentions, whereas Iowa ranks in the top quartile of states for economic freedom, but is just 25th in the nation for personal freedom. It should be a goal of the city to, as it says in the Iowa motto, to prize liberty and maintain freedom. Whereas the current animal ordinance restricts everyone's freedom in anticipation of potential malfeasance by a few, and whereas the ordinance is unenforceable as written, to wit, the police are not going into people's homes to check for the presence of dangerous reptiles or contraband animals, nor are forcing confinement of cats, etc. Whereas we in Logan are in the heart of the American agriculture and should be embracing our heritage, not forfeiting it to a city-type lifestyle that prohibits children from engaging in 4-H and FFA animal husbandry. Whereas many cities, including Omaha, San Diego, Des Moines, St. Louis, Manhattan, and others, are now allowing personal flocks of animal husbandry, and in so doing are promoting self-sufficiency of it to its citizenry. And whereas in difficult economic times, allowing small numbers of personal animals as well as gardening within the city limits improves and may become necessary for the health and maintenance of our families, especially low-income families. And whereas in hundreds of years of living with small flocks of various animals, there has been no significant outbreak of contagions attributed to this. And she has an appendix with some information to that. I think the rest of the changes that she has, or proposal that she has, is based on that preamble of allowing more freedom and more liberties and less restriction, and putting on the owners of these flocks and animals the accountability and responsibility to maintain them.
And that's understandable, but I would figure that the reason a lot of these laws are there is because the people aren't accountable for what they do. A lot of people see an animal, think it's cute, oh, let's get it, and then they get it and they decide that was more work than what I wanted, and then the animal suffers. Like I said, those were a few changes I would like to see or specify a little bit more. I don't know, does anybody else have any thoughts right now?
On chickens as far as the internet, and there's one website that has a lot of different towns and states that have chickens, and there's about 150 different towns in the United States that allow chickens, but they are such diverse rules one town, you have to have a 6-foot by 8-foot lighted sign in front of their yard that says they have chickens. Another one, if everybody agrees that the person can have chickens, they can have chickens. But if one of those people move out, then the next person can come back in and say, no, they can't have chickens. So, and according to the internet, there's between 25 and 30,000 towns and establishments in the city, in the state, in the United States. So between 150 and say 25,000, I don't think that's a very good deal of having chickens. Besides that, we don't have the manpower to enforce all the rules as far as if you were to have to license every chicken and have every chicken have a stamp and all the other rules that different towns have put against them. A lot of these people wouldn't even have chickens, so I'm against having chickens.
Does anybody else have any comments?
I do.
Do you want, we want to, I know that he's been done some research, it's up to you guys, or we can have him in the citizens' questions and comments. Okay. We'll have you come up during citizens' questions and comments, Chief, and speak about it. In a little bit, when we're,
Okay.
we'll call you up.
I thought now would be a good time to put it on. I mean, I'm concerned about being able to enforce it as our city attorney looking for it.
Yeah, he's looking at it right now. We don't have that yet, so we'll have you come up in just a little bit, and then we'll talk about it. I think part of this was you wanted to get dialogue going, or she wanted to get dialogue going on it. Like I said, those are a few changes I'd like to see. I'd like to have at least an answer back from Aaron Rodenberg to see what he's got too. I don't know where you guys are at on that, but before we take any vote on it.
We're going to table this until you,
That would be my suggestion, is to at least get something back from Aaron on this.
I'll make a motion to table this until you talk to Aaron and bring us back what he has to say about it.
And it has been sent to him, he just hasn't had a chance to respond to it yet, so.
Need to vote on the table.
Second it. Yeah. I was just letting her know, sorry. I should have waited till comments section to let her know. Any other questions or comments? I have a motion and a second to table this until we receive the information from the city attorney. Councilmember Lefebvre.
Aye.
And Clark.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
And Crum.
Yeah.
This item is tabled for current period of time. Agenda item number 9 is discuss purchasing a new multifunction copier and printer for City Hall. Ours is getting quite aged. It is something we put in the budget for this year. We've had these quotes for a little while, so they may have gone up a little bit, but I think we'll still be, I don't think there'll be too much of a difference. My suggestion would be we go with council on one of theirs.
Because they're much cheaper.
Yeah, they're a lot cheaper. They do have a Harlan office. We deal with them all the time out of Perfection. They give us good service and everything. They have both the Lanier and the Lexmark on here. We've actually switched all Laniers out there, and if we have something go down, that's what we use as a Lanier. They're very good, dependable machines. We do a lot of printing on them, so.
I only have experience with the Lexmarks, and they're fine too. Hewlett Packards, but we don't have, I don't think we have a proposal on a Packard, do we? No.
No, I think so. I think the other was all.
Did we have a recommendation? Did we see any of these a year ago, or, Marilyn, do you recall?
I'm sorry,
Did you see anything on these? Did you actually see one? Did you read anything?
I didn't actually get the quotes a year ago.
Okay. I don't have a problem with getting new quotes, even from the other dealer, Solution One, just to make sure they haven't changed their prices by some miracle, but that way at least we'll be up to date.
They should be able to re-quote the same thing fairly easy, I would think. Maybe for the next meeting, unless you just want to, if that's what you want to do.
Marilyn was talking tonight about having problems with it. I think we need to rush this along.
One that we kind of talked about a year ago, I think, was the 2877 one. Or I don't remember if we actually talked too much about it in depth. That's the Lanier, the first one, or for the 2877, excuse me.
It's a council one?
Yes,
Right?
yeah.
And which
It
one
should
through
be
grade?
the first one on there.
First one. So the MP 2852?
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. And this one has everything we were looking for as far as being able to scan and email and everything right from it, so.
What are we willing to live with on a price increase? Up to 3,000, do we want to put a cap on it? Are we concerned at all if we approve something?
I wouldn't think on these it'd go more than 10%. I mean, that's what I would think, that if we were still within 10%, that we would just go ahead and go with it. And I would bet if they're going to sell a machine, they would stay within 10%.
I requested this be put on here, because after talking to Marilyn last week, I think it helps speed things up. I think it'd be beneficial if we could rush it. I mean, I don't know what we gotta do for that, but.
Yeah, if you just want to, if anybody wants to make a motion on one of the machines, you know, if you want it to stay within 10% or have them come back to it, or.
Yeah, I think we could even go 10, 15% just to make sure we don't stall this and have to come back to it in 2 weeks. I'll make a motion, then we approve the Lanier copier, number 2852 from council for 2877, a current quote with a upside of 15% increase on that.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Councilmember LaFever.
Aye.
And Clark.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
And Crum.
Aye.
Okay, approval to get the new copier, as long as we're within 15% of the quote from last year's. Agenda item number 10 was discuss weapons-free zone. And, Nick, I'll let you take this if you'd like.
I put this back on here. I know, I thought Mike was gonna check into it and report back. I checked Friday and there was nothing on the agenda, so I requested it be put back on there. If nothing else, just to clear up the weapons-free zone. I know in the meeting that we were talking about the 1,000-foot range of parks and schools. I printed off the Chapter 724 on weapons, and 724 Point 4. A talks about weapons-free zones. I'll just read number 1 here. It says, as used in this section, weapons-free zones means the area in or on or within 1,000 feet of the real property comprising of a public or private elementary or secondary school, comma, or in or on the real property comprising of a public park. So I guess my interpretation of that is it's not 1,000 foot within the park, it's in or on the park. So there is no 1,000 foot umbrella around the park. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Chief, am I reading that right?
I don't know, I was just told that that's what the zone was.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to clear that up because I know that brought a lot of, a lot of concern from people as far as I live within 1,000 feet of the park. Does that mean I can't have guns in my house? So I just wanted to bring that up and clarify that so City Hall would not fall under a weapons-free zone. I mean, as far as I know, and from what I'm reading, it doesn't.
Any other questions or comments? I didn't look anything up on it because Mike was going to, and then he had to be out of town this week. So.
I'll chime in just from what I did last time, and I'm against the resolution that was put forward to erode any Second Amendment rights of any of the citizens of Logan. I'm adamantly opposed to that. My understanding is the state law covers these things. They're rather clear. They're outlined. We've checked with our representatives. Winchell and Schultz both agree with that stance. So I'm all for, again, keeping it with the state law and not introducing anything further from the city of Logan standpoint that would erode that any further or take any further steps to erode those constitutional rights.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, agenda item number 11. Discuss and approve Jerome Mackey for the park board.
I'd like to make a motion that I'd like to make a motion to put Jerome on the park board.
I'll second that.
Okay, and from what I've heard, he would be a good addition. Is there any other questions or comments on this? Councilmember Feber.
Aye.
Clark.
Aye.
Johnson.
Abstain.
And Crum.
Aye.
Approval of Jerome Mackey to be on the park board. One thing I forgot, we need a 3 or a 6 year term on that. 'Cause I believe we have one of each left, a 3 year and a 6 year term. So
Let's go with a 3 year.
3 year, okay. Well, citizens' questions and comments. Chief, did you want to finish your thoughts early from what you had earlier?
Well,
I'm going to give you a mic up here.
I just think that we got too much going on here with all the rest of the animals. I don't have any problem with chickens. My problem is that we've got to have some rules and regulations here. And
So they can hear you.
can't remember when I used to sing. I just don't think that there needs to be some numbers and rules and regulations on how many chickens are there per household. We can't just open it up because, we change our city, with having the different animals. We're talking cows, we're talking horses and everything else. We go from a city to a barnyard. And that's, that's not fair to the rest of, what about your neighbor? He doesn't like cows, but you got cows. So, you know, I think that the city attorney and we just need to look this over first before we get in too deep here. That's my concern.
Other citizens?
Terry Francis, 509 North 2nd Avenue. Where to start? Weapons-free zones definition that was presented. Thought it was interesting that when that was spoken, that you did include the comma after secondary school, but you neglected to say the comma after the 1,000 feet of. Thought that was an interesting omission because that does change the complexion of that sentence. And I know I'm not an English major, but I think there's another avenue to look at when you read that section. The first part of that is talking about where the zone is going to be, okay? And it says the free zone is going to be area in or on or within 1,000 feet of. What's it going to be on 1,000 feet of? It's going to be on the two next things after that comma. The real property of the public or private elementary or secondary school, and the real or public property comprising of a public park. So that comma is very small, but it makes a big difference in the way that sentence is put together. My vantage point, that looks like that distance is talking about both criteria of location. So before looking at that, my assumption was that this building here would not fall under that, but reading it again, it looks like that this is already covered because we are within that 1,000 feet. So my suggestion would be is I would like the council, before anything goes forward with any kind of ordinances on this in citywide or this, is to get some type of an attorney general's opinion as to what was the intent of that sentence when it was first done. Is there an intent there? And I haven't talked with the legislators, but you know, we're going to have to get some kind of a definition of what is the distance actually for just one or both. Why would they put a comma in there if it wasn't to separate the thought? Okay, and the second comma is to separate the two areas. So that's just maybe an area of sentence structure and how the intent of the law was to be. So I'm kind of with Elmer on the Animal Protection and Control section, Chapter 55. To omit sections 5505, 5511, and 5518, basically what you're eliminating is the definition of or the livestock area where it's unlawful for a person to keep livestock within the city limits except under written consent of the council or except in compliance with the city's zoning regulations. Okay, we just eliminated that, but we still have the definition of livestock back in the definitions section, which means bovine, caprine, equine, ovine, porcine, farm deer, as defined in 481.1 of the Iowa Code, ostriches, rheas, emus, and poultry. So we still have a definition of livestock, but we just decided that we're just going to get rid of 505, the unlawful for a person to keep the livestock within the city except by written council consent or compliance with the city zoning regulations. The proposal is 2 pages long, and you have 505 that basically lets you do the same thing anyway. With written consent of the council is all you need to do all the rest of this stuff on this proposal. Second one, to do away with, you want to do away with 55.11, dangerous animals prohibited. We want to do away with dangerous animals. So if we do away with 5511, that lets you have jaguars, leopards, cougars, wolves, badgers, weasels, skunks, raccoons, bears. That's the definition right in number 3 under definition. So then that's going to be okay. And then you want to tweak 5518 which is the special provisions for horses, that outline specifically, as Elmer was saying, that you need some rules and some definitions in here that prescribe the only ways that you can have horses within the city limits of Logan. It's very straightforward, very to the point, and this proposal, or whatever you want to call this, is so vague that it's almost laughable. You know, number 3, manure droppings shall be removed from the pens, stables, yards, cages, and other enclosures as commensurate with good animal husbandry. Who defines good? Are we going to have a definition for what good is? Number 6, the type of animals kept must be commensurate with the size and location of the property. It should be unlawful for any person to keep more than 2 large domestic animals, such as horses, cows, burros, mules, and similar animals. What are similar? Could that be an emu, a tiger? You know, this is so vague. It's almost laughable. If you want to look at the existing chapter and tweak some of that, or even use something that's already in there for whatever purposes you want to do, there's no sense of getting rid of that other stuff. That's actually makes sense. And I love the part where it says, let's see here. Whereas we in Logan are the heart of American agriculture and should be embracing our heritage, not forfeiting it for a city-type lifestyle. Guess what? This is the city of Logan.
Any other citizens?
I'm Ross Heave. I live at 524 West 4th Street. I want to comment on the weapons-free zones. I'd like to point out 2 things. First off, the violence that's been committed that's in the news, so widely spread now over the past few years, with the exception of the shooting at the Tucson Mall of Gabby Gifford, all of those occurred in weapons-free zones. I know Gabby Giffords personally. I know her husband, Mike Kelly. And you'll note that neither of them called for more weapons-free zones when they spoke before Congress last week. The other point I'd like to make is that Iowa is ranked, tied number 7 at the bottom of the list of states with weapons deaths. 0.74 per 100,000 people. We don't have a problem. You're trying to address a problem that doesn't exist, and in so doing, you're diminishing the rights of our citizenry. And the way as I disagree with the councilman, the way I read the gun-free zones, you are essentially establishing a zoning overlay. And when you do that, you are imposing on the people under that overlay a restriction on the ability to possess arms on their private property. That constitutes an unreimbursed taking because you are diminishing the value of those properties. 39 to 51%, the latest statistics, as of 2010, the latest year that they've taken them, 39 to 51% of the households in the United States have weapons. If you put this overlay on those homes within 1,000 feet of wherever you want to designate, you are diminishing the potential buyers for anybody who would wish to sell those homes by 39 to 51%. You've diminished the value of that property. It's an unreimbursed taking, and it will require disclosure on any sale. Those are things that need to be considered. One other thing. I would just point out that neither the chief nor his patrol officer are wearing protective vests. They're not too concerned about anybody shooting them in this city. Most police departments wear them 24/7 when they're on duty. They're not concerned. I'm not concerned. I don't think you should be either.
Other citizens?
I just have a couple quick questions. Renee Springston, 105 West 4th Street. In reference to hiring of the new city clerk, is it normal for you guys to hire people without any reference checks? Is it normal to hire people that are working with money and that have access to personal information, not to do criminal background checks, make sure they don't have, this is something that I think you really need to look into so as we don't get into a little bit more trouble than we're already into.
Anyone else? Thank you all for coming tonight. Is there anyone else?
Good.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Any other questions or comments? Motion to adjourn. Councilmember LaFever. Clark.
Aye.
Johnson. And Crum.
Aye.
Adjourned. Thank you, everyone.